Do you know people love Garphil games? And by people, I mean me. I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about Ezra Nehemiah. It was on our list of most anticipated games of 2024, and boy does it not disappoint. I'm not going to go into too much of an overview, but if you know anything about Garphil games, it's similar in that it's worker placement and medium to heavy Euro game, depending on how you quantify that. Packs a lot of the things that I think we've all come to know and love about Garphil games. I want to take a few minutes to talk about it because boy, do I think that this deserves the hype. For context, it's no secret how much we love the Garphil games. One of our earliest videos actually was about Connie waiting for her Kickstarter of Scholars of the South Tigris to come in. Raiders, Paladins, Wayfarers, Scholars, Hadrian's Wall are all games that are high in my list of favorite games of all time. I wrote a Taylor Swift parody to the theme of the Garphil games that I deemed too cringy to record. Yes, me, who makes these. With them.
And even the talking animals think it's a little too far.
Yeah, exactly. Even I thought it was too cringy, but I still wrote it. From the beginning, I was very interested in the theme of this. I loved the look of it, and I liked the idea that, from early shots of the game, it looked like we were getting a cream of the crop greatest hits of Garphil mechanisms. At this point, I've played it solo, 2-player, and 3-player, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it at every single player count. And I think despite the fact that this game may be expected to be a little bit high maintenance when it comes to upkeep if you were to play it solo, I actually think it was incredibly smooth. If you've played the game multiplayer first and then switch over to solo, I don't think it's too much to keep up with, and in fact, I think it's a really satisfying experience. A lot of familiar mechanisms and even board layout. You have your rondel, and you be getting cards, and you're going to be getting different scoring upgrades. You're going to be moving along tracks. You're going to be contributing resources to common spaces on the board. And a lot of that does feel familiar. But I really like the thematic element of the wall that's being built, as well as the fact that the banners and the cards creates a really, really intricate little mechanism where you're trying to decide when to use things, when to cover them up, when to give yourself a little bonus. The upgradable personal player boards are great, and I think the game is just filled with fantastic decisions, start to end. And instead of struggling to find something to do, it's more like a wealth of options that you're just trying to decide which the best lane to focus on. In my plays of it so far, I found that each lane is viable and has some really interesting strategies you can pursue. For me personally, and maybe this is a little biased having come from playing other Garphil games, but I think the level of thinkiness and crunchiness in this game is actually balanced out by a decent level of approachability. Once you understand what the 3 basic actions are, everything else falls into place and makes sense. So while it has a huge table presence as far as a lot going on the board, you're very quickly going to be able to compartmentalize all of that, figure out your lane, and pursue it. All in all, I think Ezra Nehemiah, for me personally, where I am in the hobby right now, the perfect marriage of things I'm familiar with in games that I already enjoy, those elements matched with some new implementations and new elements together, making one game that genuinely surprised me how much I liked it. That may be the point I'm trying to convey here. This isn't just, oh, I love every Garphil game and automatically going to like this too, and I'm going to tell you to play it. That's not what this is. I went into this with fairly high expectations because of my enjoyment of other games from this publisher and these designers. But when I tell you they've raised the bar for me, I can highly recommend this as just a good, solid, quality game. You already know you enjoy some or any of the Garphil games, or if you've never played any, I don't think this is a bad first place to start. And that's it. Just wanted to keep it short and sweet. Everything about this so far, the gameplay, the scalability from solo to different player counts, the artwork, the iconography, the way everything looks on the board, the usability of your personal player boards, the components, the functionality, and the thematic application on the board come together so far for me personally as my favorite game of 2024. And that's why I wanted to talk about it. There are games from months ago I haven't got to review yet, just because things keep coming up. But this one, I couldn't wait, and I wanted to share. And if you've gotten a chance to play it, please let me know. Tell me what you think of it, or what you think of any of the Garphil games. So that's Ezra Nehemiah. For me, a 10 out of 10. How about that?
You know you can't just casually reference that Taylor Swift parody and then just leave it hanging and do nothing with it.
You think I should, huh?
Well, if I'm the lead vocalist, of course.
Boy.